This video is going to be a continuation of all the other videos that I've been making previously that has something along the lines of dealing with the pain and the underlying issues that's leading for the escapism and also the identity. And this is something that I've been going all in on with my clients, and I'm glad that I'm doing so because it's a lot more simple, it's a lot more streamlined, and even a little bit more actionable. But it's the hardest thing that you can possibly do, and it might be the biggest and most difficult thing you've ever done in your life. That is kind of the caveat. But if you can do this internal work, which I'm about to show you, this can be life-changing stuff. It's going to go from you battling against your own body, trying to resist and fight all these temptations and these desires to escape, to actually working with your body and not having to use willpower or discipline one bit. So let's dive into this. And also, another benefit of using this is over the course of time, the desire and the need to seek this escape is going to be lessened because you're doing this internal work. So let me show you what it is and how you can do it. So just to do a quick recap before we dive into new material, I want to show you what we've been talking about in previous, not modules, videos. So what this is looking like is that you have two different identities that are both polar opposites. The acting out one is negative, and the normal one, the one that's actually good, is very positive. And they both accurately describe your situation, right? Because on one hand, you know your potential, you know your self-worth, you know what you can achieve in this life. But at the same time, you're doing things that bring you a lot of shame and guilt and regret that lead you to live a double life. And these two belief sets coexist. They don't really coexist, they self-destruct one another, but they're there because, like I said, they accurately describe your situation. And this is kind of a visual explanation of cognitive dissonance. You do not know what to think, and your mind and your body would rather be 100% authentic and aligned to a negative identity and worldview and with all these bad belief sets and thought processes than have one that's split. So what happens is you keep going back and forth between these two identities, right? You act out for a little bit and that goes on, and then you stay clean for a little bit, but then that doesn't really go on for a long period of time, and then you fall back, and then you binge, and then it gets real bad, and then you stay clean for a period of time, right? You keep self-destructing, and it doesn't lead to anything good in the future. This video is going to be talking more about how to operate instead of kind of explaining why this happens. In a previous video, I talked about why you go back and forth between these two in a little bit more detail. But this video is going to be more centered around how to really manage this and what really leads to getting to a point where you can shoot down this negative identity and replace it with something that actually serves you. Now, the first step to all of this is to be honest, because this negative identity has many corrupted belief sets, and you probably heard about it before. Like, if there's any addict to anything, they always have bad belief sets and corrupted belief sets that point to them going and acting out. And that doesn't just have to be rationalizations that say, oh, I deserve this, or one last time, or I need to go and act out to be relieved from this pain. It's not just that straightforward. It goes even deeper into the self-image of who you believe you are, how you believe your past is, or how you believe your future is, right? Those are also belief sets that can be corrupted that point to acting out, right? So, for example, a very easy example would be a guy who wants to see success within his dating life, but he believes that he isn't ready or worthy. That belief set doesn't directly lead him to go and act out, but it prevents him from getting needs met. And that's going to eventually lead him to go and seek an escape and seek a solution, which is to go and act out. So there's a lot of that stuff going on beneath the surface, and we first have to be aware of it and flesh it all out. Now, the best way to shoot down these bad belief sets and really intentionally change them is through the process of feeling pain. If you go and act out, it's because you're escaping a pain or problem in your life. It's not a bodily sensation that you just need to release from. It's not that. If you're doing something that brings you shame and guilt and regret and pain and frustration and anger with yourself, that affects every aspect of your life, it's because you're running from something. I think a lot of people, and I'll blame myself a little bit, on the channel, I don't think I've done a good enough job of explaining the pain. And I've actually learned a lot since I've been making some of these videos. In past, I would say pain agents that lead guys to go and act out might be stress or boredom or loneliness or isolation, but it goes even deeper than that. Because those pains don't just make you go and say, you know what, I'm going to go and see an escort for a solution. That's not like a one-to-one solution. It doesn't make sense. If I'm stressed, if I'm bored, if I'm lonely, the next thought isn't to go and act out. There has to be other belief sets that point for you to go and do these things. So, for example, if you feel isolated, you probably have belief sets that define you as a person because you're isolated. Because I'm isolated, I'm a loser. Because I'm isolated, I don't have social skills. Because I don't have social skills, I'm not good with women. Because I'm not good with women, I don't have a need that is being met, right? And I also feel like I don't have validation from women. I don't feel like women like me or want me, and that's a huge void in my life, and I need to get that filled, and because that is extremely painful. So on the surface, if you were to label the pain and say, okay, what am I feeling right now? Oh, I feel alone, I feel bored, I feel lonely and isolated. But why do you want to go and act out because of that? You have to go down this like rabbit hole, for example. And there's a lot of other belief sets, like each kind of wire that we went down, there's even a different tree we can make, right? I feel like a loser, right? And that might point to past experiences. A super painful thing that I'm seeing people struggle with is past experiences. Not only do I struggle with women, but I've had past experiences of struggling with women, right? This relationship got messed up. This relationship got messed up. I made this approach and she didn't like me, and I had a heartbreak and this and that. And all these experiences are painful. And also have many examples of me not having social skills, which make me feel bad about myself. So not only do you have to reconcile the pain of, oh, I feel bored and lonely and isolated in the moment, but it's also, man, I have a lot of past experiences and trauma that's affecting the way that I view myself. You see how deep this is going, and this is just scratching the surface. So pain is a window into how your mind works and what belief sets are ongoing that are negative and what thought processes you have that point towards acting out. So, what I've been encouraging people to do as of recently, very, very heavily, is that when they feel pain, express it. Get mad at yourself, get mad at your situation, get mad at other people, be pissed off, be frustrated, or be sad, or whatever the case is, right? Because the main thing that you have to do to deal with the pain isn't to fix it. That's not the solution. The solution is to solve all this underlying baggage that's preventing you from fixing it. This is big. There's resistance to probably fix this issue because of everything that's going on beneath the surface. And again, an easy example, most straightforward example I can give is also within the relationship. A guy might not feel ready or worthy to have a relationship because of all of this stuff going on under the surface. So even if he does make a couple approaches, it doesn't mean he's going to solve the issue. Even if he gets a girlfriend, that's not going to solve the issue. This is the issue. Everything going on beneath the surface. So to be able to fix the problem, you need to be able to deal with all of this underlying trauma. This is not what you want to hear. I know as men, we want to fix things. We want to deal with the problem. We want to use force and effort to do so. That's our tendency. But that's not the solution. The solution is to sit with this. And sitting with this is, if I had to bet money on this, you, the viewer right now, if I had to bet money on this, it's probably going to be the most difficult thing you've ever done. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not playing this out or doing anything like that. Sitting with this pain and being honest in expressing the frustration, expressing the anger, expressing the sadness, that is, it sucks, because the second that you peel back that wound and look at it for what it is, it starts to hurt 10 times more than you anticipated. And it's overwhelming because there's probably other examples of these, this baggage in other aspects of your life, or it's something that's been repressed for so long that the second that you uncover it, it's years of baggage that hasn't been processed. And I'll give you kind of a story for myself. When I was going through this, I would escape every second of the day. And if it wasn't with lust, right? Lust was like when it was really intense. If it wasn't with lust, it was with YouTube. If it wasn't with YouTube, it was with video games. If it wasn't with video games, I'd be listening to music in my ear 24/7. I would never face my own thoughts and my own feelings and my own pain. I would run from it 24/7. And it got to a point over a month period, probably even longer, probably years of doing this, if I'm being honest. It got to a point where I couldn't run from it anymore. It got so intense, so loud that I couldn't ignore the feeling of like, man, I have to deal with this, And it sucked. And I would escape even harder. And I tried to ignore it even more. It's like, no, 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 I'm not going to deal with it. But I couldn't. Eventually, I just couldn't anymore. And in a 10-day period, I would sit with the pain and I'd get mad and frustrated about my situation. And when I was getting mad and frustrated, it felt like I wasn't making progress. Because if you want to fix your situation, why would you get mad and frustrated about it? Why would you get sad about your situation and break down 10 days straight in tears, crying yourself to sleep because of how bad the situation actually is? It doesn't really feel like progress to do that. It feels like you're making multiple steps in the wrong direction, right? If you want to fix the situation, why indulge in the pain of it? But that was exactly what I had to do because after 10 days of getting mad and frustrated and recalling all these past experiences that were negative and crying about it, I couldn't feel bad about it anymore and I couldn't feel mad about it anymore. And I felt a release. All of this baggage that was just building up over the years of not dealing with it finally got processed and there was a release. There's a weight taken off my shoulders and I felt like I could breathe. And at that point, I was able to make progress because I've dealt with the baggage. And those 10 days, my friend, were probably some of the worst times in my life because that was hell. I was avoiding that for so long. So this is exactly what I've been encouraging, my clients to do as of recently. And it's been the best feedback I've ever given. Again, it's difficult to go through this. And when you're in this much pain, it sucks, man. And people somewhere are, very brave in doing it. And others, they're really struggling through dealing with this, but they're all making insane progress because after they flesh out this pain, they start to get insights. They start to get peace about their situation. They forgive themselves and they feel good about their situation. And I'm telling you, if you want to fix the double life that you're facing, fix the identity issues, the first step is to be honest and face the pain and express it. And from there, you're going to be able to fix the situation, fix the problem. So the call to action in this video is going to be to express the pain that you're feeling. And as you're expressing the pain that you're feeling, be aware of all of this because stress isn't a one-to-one to go and see an escort. There's other belief sets that have been corrupted and thought processes that are present that are negative viewpoints of yourself or your situation, or you're dwelling on past experiences. There's a lot of this going on beneath the surface. Processing it sucks, but once you process it, you can see all of the belief sets that need to change. And just by processing it, a lot of these beliefs no longer hold weight in your life. So this is something that I'm going to encourage you to do. But as you're doing this, take care of yourself. If that means junk food, that means junk food. If that means eating pizza and ice cream every single night, that means that. If it means exercising twice a day because that gives you a release, it's exercise twice a day. Take care of yourself when you do this. Because this is the reason why you're acting out. The pain that has been avoided and repressed, and the belief sets that intertwine with all this pain. It's going to suck. It's not fun. So treat yourself well in this process. And once you process it, here's the final call to action with this. Forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself for what you've been doing. I know you've been doing things that you're not proud of, that you're never going to be able to justify and explain. I get that. But you've done these things out of necessity to survive. There was so much baggage and pain in your life that was intense, that was leading you to go and act out. And you didn't know any better. You needed the escape. But now you can see why you've been doing these things. and you see all these corrupted belief sets that have been leading you to have low self-esteem and stay stuck in a situation you don't want to be in, forgive yourself. And that's another weight that can be taken off your shoulders. And I'm telling you, it's not going to feel like progress when you're sitting with the pain and expressing it, but it is. And be happy when you get mad in retrospect. Be excited that you broke down in tears if you've done that. Express the emotions that have been going on and been bottled up beneath the surface. In our next video, we'll be continuing this kind of like chapter of dealing with the pain. And I'll be diving into really getting to a point where you can start to take action to fix it. But this is the first step. So I encourage you to deal with it and sit with it and go from there. So I'll see you guys in the next video. If you need any help, you can go down below and book a consultation with myself, or I'm just going to be going over your situation and giving you feedback on that call. And if you absolutely love it, we can discuss kind of moving forward. But at the very least, man, you're going to get a lot of insight. You can take notes and just ask me questions. It'll be overall very productive for you on your recovery journey. So with that said, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.